So for those who have been following this whole spreadsheet thing for a while now, this is the second one that I've done. The first one was for Crown of Sorrow. The next one, Garden of Salvation prep. There's been a lot of things that have changed between what it takes to prep for a DLC, particularly from way back in March when they nerfed being able to save powerful bounties into the next season after the whole fiasco and what happened in Scourge of the Past. For those who don't know, when Scourge of the Past released, you had a lot of teams who were going in at the maximum light cap because they had saved powerful bounties from previous seasons, which allowed them to hit the light cap very early, way before the raid. After that whole fiasco, they learned from their mistakes. They started getting rid of things that would benefit players from being able to hit the light cap way too fast. But it wasn't quite enough, especially going into Crown of Sorrow. That's when I started my first spreadsheet thing. I made a video on it a while back. There were a lot of things that you could do to prepare. Just going down a quick brief list. Preparing flashpoints, allegiance quests, saving bounties for Ikora for her weekly milestone, Dreaming City bounty prep, Zur bounties, weekly 5,000 clan XP, saving exotic / pinnacle weapon quests, saving ghost fragments, saving oracle offering bounties, saving tinctures, saving weekly clan rewards, saving ballistic logs. And on top of that, this spreadsheet included a specific list in what you would need to do to get the most out of your leveling in time. Moral of the story here for the Crown of Sorrow leveling was that doing a fuck ton of old prep / other stuff could give you a huge advantage in terms of getting ready for the raid. Some players were for it, some players were against it. Again, I was just trying to spread my knowledge on what I was going to do at the time, because as a competitive person, you're going to do everything that you can to try and make sure you're ready for the content because you want to win. I know that Penumbra wasn't a full yearly DLC that we usually get. It was one of the smaller ones, but there was definitely a clear indication that something was off with the progression system. Logically, when a new DLC comes out, you would want to prioritize leveling for the most part within the new content in that DLC. Going back to old stuff for a vast majority of the leveling doesn't really make sense. So now let's talk about the latest spreadsheet. Same sort of situation, but this time around, again, a lot of the stuff that was previously used for prep, they've taken into account and they are changing so that it will no longer benefit you. In the This Week at Bungie article that was released yesterday, they announced that all Year 2 powerful sources are being retired and have been turned into legendary drops. So this means no being able to save any sort of Ascendant Challenge bounties or offering to the Oracle bounties or any sort of thing in Year 2 from Forsaken up till Season of Opulence. None of that stuff is going to benefit you power-wise going into Shadowkeep. The thing about prepping for Shadowkeep is we knew that the most important thing that we needed to prep was bounties for experience. It really wasn't about the powerful items. The experience from these bounties would provide a benefit in a couple different categories. The first of which is the seasonal artifact. You unlock perks and mods and stuff from there, but the seasonal artifact also contains an extra power level that adds to your power level of your gear. Aside from that, the XP will also apply to your seasonal battle pass. So you go along the battle pass unlocking items, and the more that you can prep XP wise, the more items you'll be able to get before the raid drops. Whether or not you are preparing for the raid as a player, I would say a majority of the community that regularly plays the game has been prepping a lot of these bounties in order to gain some sort of an advantage for leveling these items. But also in the This Week at Bungie article that was released yesterday, Bungie released a little note about Vanguard, Crucible, and Gambit bounties. They said that any bounties that fall into the Crucible, Gambit, or Vanguard categories will need to be turned in before maintenance on September 30th because they will be removed. Although there was a little side note that says Gunsmith, Clan, Eververse, etc., any other bounty can be still claimed when Shadowkeep launches. So this is a good and a bad thing. Finally getting to my main point. So Bungie did kind of half nerf this whole bounty thing, which was the only real prep that we had left on at this point going into Shadowkeep. All of their previous prep has been continually nerfed over time, but the bounties was the last thing we had to hang on to. When I made this spreadsheet, I really wanted to use it again as a way to spread information to those who don't really know this info as much or don't have time to like look deeply into this information. But there's also a part of me that was hoping that Bungie might notice what we were doing and hopefully patch it before it became an issue. I really, really would like to go into Shadowkeep on a clean slate, everybody being on the same level. Going into a new year, and especially with all the big changes that they've announced recently, it's like they're trying to reform the game. When you're saving stuff from previous seasons, and at that point, a previous year that allows you to get an advantage, one, you have less content to focus on going forward because you're going to be able to finish everything faster, and it's not a good way to start off the new year. Am I happy that they took action on some of these bounties and will be removing them from your inventory? Yes. But at the same time, if you're going to remove some of them, why not just remove all of them? I'm not saying you should go in and remove every single quest from a player's inventory, but just the ones that people are saving for potential XP gain going into Shadowkeep. I definitely think it's possible to make a note that players should be able to finish their bounties by the new year, because at the start of the new year, everybody's going to be on the same playing field in terms of power anyways, and why not just set the slate clean everywhere you possibly can and not allow players to gain some sort of silly advantage? In no way am I trying to say that this is going to absolutely ruin Shadowkeep, but it's just little things that really annoy me going into Shadowkeep when they're trying to say that everything is a clean start again. Going forward, I will definitely continue to do spreadsheets, so I will not withhold that information. But again, this is just a little rant that I'd like to throw out there, and I want to know your guys' opinion on this as well. So let me guys know what you think about the bounties and this whole prep thing as a whole. Thank you for listening to me rant, and we'll catch you later. Peace.